Okay, we'll get rolling here. Thanks everyone for coming. Welcome Barry and Ben.
Welcome Ben anyways.
Yeah. We'll call the December 22nd, 2020 FARGODOME Authority meeting to order. Before we get to item number 1, any additions or revisions to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
First by Dave. Second by Rick. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, any old business to bring before the authority? Hearing none, we'll move on to number 3, new business. Rob?
Did you do the minutes?
Oh, sorry. Gosh. It's the second time I've done that. Item 1, approval of the November 24th minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
First by Rick, second by Dave. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. No old business. On to number 3, Rob.
All right, number 3, we'll go over the November financials to start. On page 4, again, as always, the month is on the left-hand side, the year-to-date is on the right-hand side, and as bleak as the left-hand and right-hand side might look, I'm going to just draw your attention to the first 2 numbers at the top on the left-hand side for the month of November, that we actually had 4 events and just under 7,600 people attending. So that was a bit of an oddity for us over the last 9 or 10 months. But those events were the Dakota Bowl and then 3 days of the high school state volleyball tournament. So we had total event income of just over $32,500 compared to a budget of $312,000. We had indirect expenses of just over $280,000, or a little over $91,000 below the budgeted $371,000. So for the month of November, we did have a net deficit of $305,000 compared to the budget of nearly $92,000. The variances there was $14,000 in expense, essentially ticketing company fees from the final cancellation of the share event. That event is now canceled, will not be postponing to a separate date or a new date or anything. She canceled all of her remaining tour stops due to the uncertainty. Also then there was one NDSU regular season football game that was supposed to happen in November. So that did not happen, along with the Mercy Me concert had been postponed from April of 2020 into November, and has also now subsequently postponed to April of 2021, as well as another theater Broadway event that was not held. And on the amateur side, we did have the Dakota Bowl and the state volleyball tournaments. However, with the limited attendance, as you recall, for football it was 1,000 people per game. For volleyball, state volleyball, it was 1,000 people per match, but building cleared after every game and after every match. So the revenues were significantly down below budget, and then right at the same time of the Dakota Bowl and state volleyball in North Dakota happening, Minnesota had their shutdown of high school and youth sports. So the Minnesota sectionals that had postponed from earlier in November to the Friday, Saturday after Thanksgiving were canceled and did not happen. We did have a fair amount of activity in the meeting rooms that went on to the November books with the general election. So we had 2 weeks of early voting and then the actual general election day on Tuesday, November 3rd. On the expense side, labor continued to be below budget due to the timing with that full-time position that has not been hired. I am working with the city now. Bruce Grubb will be sending him an email. I'd like to restart that process. It is, as it was approved in the budget for 2020, so carried over and approved into the budget of 2021. But start that process, since hiring is going to be a probably 2 to 3 month process. Get that position hired as a catering manager, so that come fall, we're kind of ready and have a plan in place to move forward to try to increase the revenues for the facility. So there'll be more coming on that at future meetings. Operations was about $40,000 below budget. Again, with the utilities continuing to be below budget with the limited activity. However, our building repair and maintenance expenses, a lot of the staff, I think at times up to 14 full-time staff members, and on a regular basis, 8 to 10 have been inside the arena, sanding, wiping down, cleaning, priming, and painting all of the handrails in the building. So they've been spending significant amount of time working on that, but saving all the labor costs from what we would normally have to pay out to a general contractor, which for those of you who know that's $50 to $100 plus an hour. So in our absence of events, it's a good way to keep people busy, and I appreciate everybody's efforts and willingness to help out with that. Then otherwise, without having events, the contract payments, management fee, et cetera, to add up to that $91,000. Any questions about the November financials? Okay, year to date then, just kind of hit the highlights, which there are none. So through November, so through the 11 months, a net deficit of about $1,225,000. Obviously doesn't compare very favorable to budget or zero. On the comments through the event basis, you can see just about $2 million in event income losses with the lack of events. In December, I'm trying to think, for upcoming in December, was the Egg Show in December or November budget? In December, so that really will be the only event, and Rumble on the Red for the December time frame, so there will still be some losses, event losses there. Excuse me, the $600,000 of the net advertising revenue, which is that 65% of the 2020 rebate for suites and advertisers. And if there is a bright spot, you know, we will say that everybody here has worked hard to maintain expenses as much as possible. And you can see that we're nearly $600,000 below budget on our operating expenses. So they've done what they can. They've pitched in where they can. We've had expenses, but trying to use everything as efficiently as possible for that. So, any questions on the November financials?
Rick?
For sure, would be okay with it. I'd like to move to approve the November financial statements.
Okay, first by Rick, second by Mike. Roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Okay. Review of current events. I just did. No. So as I said, a lot of the staff remains busy with different projects. So the main project is getting the handrails all refreshed. Another group is going around to all of the bathrooms. So that's 21 bathrooms, and kind of deck brushing and scrubbing down all of the walls and the toilet partitions and kind of getting things cleaned up there as much as possible. Our schedule over the last many years has made it kind of difficult to do a deep clean such as this, so the building in certain areas are definitely getting a deep clean, touching up some different things such as that. Unfortunately with that it comes to, hey, we should do this project or this would be good, but we're doing what we can right now with what the resources we have as we look at those different things and decide some future projects. So everybody's kind of pitched in, and there are very few people that are doing the jobs that their job description says they're supposed to do or what they were hired for at this point in time. But they've been working very hard at different things and trying to keep as busy as possible, getting different areas cleaned up, or whether it be event side or administration side. As far as events, as we've discussed before, and I had just mentioned, the December events of the Egg Show, as well as Rumble on the Red, will not be happening. As of now, the Red River Valley Boat and Marine Show will be happening at the end of January. The state wrestling tournament through the North Dakota High School Activities is still scheduled to happen that third week in February. You had all heard the announcement that the Home and Garden Show for 2021 has decided to cancel their event. The Red River Valley Sportsman Show is happening for the first weekend in March as of now, and we are still anticipating the start of NDSU's 2020-2021 spring season will kick off on Sunday, February 21st, with them the team actually coming back into meetings January 11th and starting practice, I believe it's January 25th, and getting ready to lead up to that. So, with the news of the vaccine starting to reach areas, I still think it's going to be a long time, a while, till most of our audience has received that. But we keep plugging ahead. We are starting to get, or I am starting to get some inquiries about possible fall shows, then into 2022. Everything we continue to hear kind of on the touring side of things is really still very slow, pretty much non-existent first quarter, partial second quarter of 2021, but that you'll hopefully see some more activities in the summer, warmer climates before that, but in the summer, mid-summer areas, and then into the fall. So we remain optimistic that the sun will come up sometime in July, and by August, September, October, most of it will be forgotten, but knowing that there'll still be some things that have been created in this era that kind of will last on for a while, and that's just fun. But hopefully one day we'll be able to get to see fans back in and full buildings and cheering fans at football games, or screaming fans at concerts or high school events and different things such as that. Questions on anything upcoming or financials for the end of the year?
Hearing okay?
We obviously will have more information on everything at the January meeting of both building finance and the authority as we wrap up 2020.
So right now, the first scheduled event is the boat show? Is that right?
First scheduled event in the arena now is the boat show. We did host, the Salvation Army was here yesterday with their Christmas food and toy distribution event that they did outside the south end of the building in a drive-through concept. But the first arena event right now is the end of January.
Okay. Thank you. 3B, the Building and Finance Committee did not meet in December. So we will move on to number 4, insurance renewal.
Okay. I believe Susan sent out some information, kind of some preliminary information to everyone regarding the renewal this year. So there are a few things I just want to highlight. And I think the biggest change this year that we see on that renewal agreement summary is the property renewal. And we're dealing not only with the hardening in the property market, but we're also coming off a 2-year rate lock with Zurich. So we're really feeling the effect there of that. And we're also seeing some pain from the claim that was recently resolved. Now that's a more positive note, of course, but we are seeing the effect of that in the property renewal from Zurich as well. So we were anticipating that, and in response to that, we did go to market and approach several different carriers for the property renewal this year. Just to know, FM Global, Travelers, and CNA were all approached, and their indications were that they would not be able to compete with Zurich's pricing currently, and we also had some declinations due to the claims activity. vehicle this easement. So those are kind of highlighted in the information that Susan had sent over. Another change we're noting on the property this year is the deductible. So we're actually going from a $25,000 deductible to a $100,000 deductible. And we are seeing carriers pushing deductibles up across the property market, not just for public venues. In some cases, we're actually seeing percentage deductibles attached. So when we think about like FARGODOME, for example, if a carrier were to attach a 1% deductible to this facility, with a total insured value of roughly $200 million, we'd be talking a $2 million deductible. So we are seeing that. Certainly not the case with the zero renewal. I think with the FARGODOME's loss appetite, a higher deductible probably makes sense anyways. Most of the claims that have happened have been certainly under that threshold. I think it's the position of the authority to self-insure some of those losses. Another couple things worth noting, a change again this year is on the liability portion, which is with K&K, and they have agreed to break the liability portion off of the actual exposures for 2020. So typically this is rated based on the projected exposures on a 5-year average based on attendance. So it is not auditable. But in this case, given the circumstances, they made the exception to rate it based on 2020 actuals, and then they will conduct an audit at the end of 2021 and square it up. But I think to Rob's point, we are seeing the vaccine rolled out, but it is still unsure which events are actually going to take place, and so this is a much more conservative position. And actually, the excess and the umbrella are rated off of the liability portion as well. So because we saw the liability premium come down, we actually are seeing the excess premium down as well. So we kind of see a cascading effect there, if you will. And the positive again with the excess piece is that it's not auditable. So we're not going to see an increase in that portion of it. But this should reflect certainly an actual depiction of what we see for attendance for 2021. Again, stop me if anyone's got any questions. But those are the kind of the major changes in the renewal. The excess limit is still $5 million, excess of the primary $10 million offered by K&K, so a total of 15. Other items worth noting in the summary of insurance that we included are the cyber policy, which was just renewed. As you might recall, the Fargo is listed as an insured on the city of Fargo policy. So that has recently been renewed as well. And, we are seeing some implications of COVID in that space, just specifically due to a large number of people working from home, less network security protocols in place at home, and therefore higher claims activity in that area as well. So I'm just going to stop there and ask if anyone has any specific questions off of that.
So it looks like in total up 2.5%. I think our last couple of meetings we had been talking about that 30+% increase, but
Well, I think
with the attendance break,
the
brings it
important
down.
things to high points that I'm going to miss that Susan or Ben will catch me on. So the property did have what, a 39% increase because of the losses, because we were in a 2-year lock. So you could look at it at 17-18% a year if you want. It's just going up, and I can say that on all the calls I've been on with other buildings and through Venue Coalition and IABM, we're not unique here. It's the virus, the liability, all of that is one of the big topics that look at. I still maintain that I've never seen anybody successfully sue a venue, a business, a country, a world for getting influenza. So I don't know how you're going to do it here, but that's for other people to figure out. So when you look at the numbers as an aggregate of a $6,000-7,000 increase from 2020 to 2021, it looks good. What we have to remember is that come November or December of 2021, K&K is likely, will do an audit and look at what our actual attendance for 2021 was versus 2020, what they're basing this off of, and that liability premium is gonna go up, be higher than what it is right now. So it is going to be somewhere between a $10,000 and $50,000 jump. But I think it is what it is. That's the climate we're in. We as a management staff will just need to adjust or figure things out as we go. I think it is important to note though too, because of this, Susan and I haven't even talked about this, but it's going to present a challenge for the 2022 budget that will be presented to you in 5 or 6 short months, because we're not going to have the right data to look at in our current situation, particularly on the liability side. We'll likely know the property side, but not the liability side. So it's going to be some shifting, but frankly, pretty much every one of our revenue accounts always has some shifting based on our events. So you're as a group, you're used to seeing those numbers shift. We'll do our best to explain and be out there. It's just make sure to not lock in on that. So I think we'd be looking for a motion there. And then just the other high point, as we talked, Ben mentioned the insurance claim. We're continuing to finalize the last of it, waiting for everything. We'd already received that one payment, which was $240, $230, $250. We have up to $1 million coverage. Things are looking extremely favorable with everything going on there. So we'll have more information on that at the January meeting to have final numbers in there once December 31st and 2020 has been left in the rearview mirror and burned and cracked and whatever. So.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line of the property is, and Rob kind of mentioned it, if it's a 39 or 37% increase overall, we did, our total insured value went from about 190 or so million to 197, so we have 5 or 6% of increase just in total insured value. And then when we look at that remaining percentage increase over 2 years, that is in line with what the market average is doing right now. And that's without factoring in, significant claim or loss reserves.
I think the other thing there too is I read somewhere, and it might have been in this overview that's on page 15 or 14. With the increase now, nobody likes it, but it kind of puts us to where we could have been 2 years ago if we would have stayed on that track with FM Global or whatever before Dawson came on board. And frankly, although it's disappointing, no entity other than the insurance company should be faulted for things that we can't control.
I would just say if we get to Q3 next year and attendance is looking good, that we accrue for the extra, or start accruing for the extra 50 or whatever, so we don't get to December and get whacked. Yeah.
We'll at least be able to get close to it, yeah.
Okay.
So, Susan, we're looking for a motion, correct?
So looking for a motion to stay with Zurich for 21 and 22. Right, okay.
Yeah, Zurich
And this
property,
is
KK is liability.
This is a 2-year premium quoted here, or is it annual?
1 year, correct.
Or 1 year, okay. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to, for approval of the property and liability insurances as proposed.
Okay, thanks. First by Rick. Second by Mike. Roll call.
Yes.
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 And
Nancy.
Nancy?
Okay, thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.
Anything else on insurance? Okay, we'll move on to number 5, the Spectra service agreement renewal.
All right, as we talked about at a couple of earlier meetings, our services agreement with Spectra is set to expire. At the end of this month, we've been working with them. They sent a couple proposals. I had reviewed them with Blake as the president, kind of went back and forth and kind of worked with Spectra in lieu of the last 9-10 months with the pandemic. They did recognize that, and they have proposed for a three-year renewal option. So that would be 2021, 2022, 2023. Currently, we pay $3,000 a month, plus the percentage of sales of 4, 7, and 10%. They have proposed for the first year, all of 2021, after some discussions, they've come back and proposed a $1,500 fee for the year of 2021. So essentially about an $18,000 reduction. And then for 2022 and 2023, we would revert back to the $3,000 monthly fee, and the percentages of 4, 7, and 10% remain in place, and the limits are the same, so 4% on up to 1.5 million in sales, 7% on 1.5 to 3 million in sales, and 10% on anything over 3 million in sales. I think the overall, the agreement works well. Our relationship, Casey Erickson, the City of FARGODOME Food and Beverage Manager, has done a good job and opened up those communication lines, and we're actually utilizing the agreement more now, whether it be for getting some different pricing on equipment or policies or different things such as that, working on engaging them on some menus, different items, different things such as that. Also in this time, it's been real helpful with their national knowledge of, okay, just how are food and beverage operations operating in other buildings around the country with the limited service, trying to reduce contact, things such as that. So it's been beneficial. So, with that, I would, if there are no questions, or if there are questions, I'm happy to answer. Again, this would be a 3-year, but I would request a motion to approve as presented.
First by Dan, second by Troy.
Yes.
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 Nancy? Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay. Any additional items? Hearing none, we're adjourned